You are there in wireless industry for many years. What other metrics should we usually expect from a test setup?
So it needs a balance of all these parameters.
What is the typical workflow of bringing up a test setup?
First, we need to understand what we are building and why we are building.
What are the key factors if you want to simulate test setup as realistic as possible?
Don't just take APs and deploy it wherever you want. That's the biggest mistake that no one should do.
With these evolving Wi-Fi standards, how do we make sure that our test setups are future-proof?
No Wi-Fi setup is obsolete because Wi-Fi itself claims that it supports legacy standards.
If you want to scale a test setup today, what does that scale look like?
So we call that as...
Now, if someone is about to bring a test setup, what skills does he or she needs to have?
You have to know
Hello everyone, welcome to Weekly WiFi Wisdom podcast series where we talk everything about Wi-Fi and the tech that surrounds it. I'm your host, Sainath, WLAN QA engineer at Candela Technologies. And I'm very excited about the guest we have today, Mr. Shashank. He's currently working as Director of Quality Assurance at Cambium Networks. He comes with vast experience in wireless industry. So he has made several publications also regarding the wireless networks and its performance. So I'm pretty sure that his experience provides us lots of insights for today's episode. So in today's episode, we'll be covering about bringing up test setups for various complex test scenarios. Hello Shashank, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So thank you for coming over. Thank you for giving us your time.
Sure.
So let's get started. So when we talk about Wi-Fi testing, of course, we need a Wi-Fi test setup. So what should be the expectation from a Wi-Fi test setup ideally? So what should we expect? Is it repeatability or is it seamless automation? And what other metrics should we usually expect from a test setup?
Okay. So I think it's almost all of them. So it needs a balance of all these parameters. So at the core, we need a control environment to reproduce the issues and repeatable, right? If a test passes today and if it does not pass next day, that means there is an issue in the test bed, right?
Absolutely.
So that said, repeatability is also not enough. The setup should also offer realism. So when I meant realism, it's about is it matching with the customer scenario or not, or whatever is our requirements, test requirements, right? So because the ultimate goal is to reflect the customer's real world experience, right? And dense deployments, mixed client generations, interference, and roaming. So overall, we require all those parameters. All we need to do is we have to balance them so that we get the right output as per our customer experiences.
Right. So we need to make our setup accordingly as per the use case that we are expecting.
Yes.
Understood. So I'd like to ask you about what is the typical workflow of bringing up a test setup. So right from physical connections to final documentation. Let's say this setup can do so and so. So if we document, someone else taking over can understand it, right?
Right.
So what is the typical workflow from starting to the ending of bringing up a test setup?
So first we need to understand what we are building and why we are building, right? Even if it's a small scale test bed or a large scale, first understand the requirements.
So the objective is very
Objective
important.
has to be very clear.
Right.
Else we don't know what path we are in. So we'll end up doing the same work in a loop, right? So first objective has to be clear. Then once objective is clear, then put a network diagram or a block diagram of what you are going to build, right? Then get it reviewed with the expertise, right? So that there are many chances that we forget. It's a human
Human error.
Not error, it's behavior. Nature that we forget things. So what happens in the review? We know what is our objective. So when we review, they will tally. Right, in the review we'll get a comments whether it's tallying the required objective or not.
Absolutely.
So depending on the scale of the test bed, suppose if it's a large scale, don't build large scale immediately. Try a miniature setup.
Right.
Okay. So once a miniature setup is fulfilling what you're thinking, then go for expanding it. Right. So that in all this, you are ensuring that you are doing what is required and cost effective.
Right. So we are starting with some baseline setup, and if it is working, then we are expanding
for the large scale.
Understood. Right. So now I'd like to ask you about your journey. So you are there in wireless industry for many years, right? So what was your early experience in bringing test setups for Wi-Fi? How did you feel like, and what was the first complex test setup that you brought up?
Right. So almost I started my Wi-Fi testing around 2011. Okay. So that time we didn't have this much infrastructure,
Right.
and we used to have PCMCS slots.
Right.
So I still remember the Cisco adapters and stuff. So I think my manager had given me a couple of laptops and 4 or 5 PCMC adapters, and he asked me to test the Wi-Fi access point. So now within 5 access point, 5 clients, everything works fine. So what we have to do? Then we have done some Athros coding, because all the adapters were working with Athros. We created virtualization during those periods only. So each PCMC supports around 8 virtual clients.
Okay.
Right. So that like that we scaled. We had 5, so 8 into 5, 40 clients.
Okay.
So that's how we started with testing in the Wi-Fi. Then once we got confidence, then we started buying mobiles. Or initially, most of the time we used to use our own laptops for testing. Most of the time, right? I think it's the same here also.
Yeah, we do that too sometimes. Yes.
Right. But once the product was stable and we were confident, then we started investing in the labs. Then we bought variants of the clients and started building it.
Right. Truly awesome to hear that. So you started imagining about the scale of the network, around 40 clients back in 2011. So that's very interesting to hear, actually. So now you mentioned about balancing the right parameters according to our use cases. So when we talk about realism versus controllability in a test bed, for instance, what test cases should we follow for real environments versus what test cases should be done in a simulated environments?
Okay. So simulation is all about KPI parameters. Okay. So for example, I want to know what is the capacity of my system, what is the latency when I add a 50% interference to the system. Those are all simulating, right? So, but realism is something where you are also injecting real traffic, not only the client's traffic, but also the network traffic, and adding real APIs as interference rather than just injecting the interference. So that's the difference. So in simulation, everything is controlled, and you know how much your how much interference you are adding it, and how much performance is degraded. But real time is not like that. Real time, in fact, impact is not only because of the interference; it's also because of your network parameters in the backend. Right? You don't know what kind of broadcast, multicast traffic is in the network. So we have to emulate or pump such kind of traffic in the backend network, so that you create a real scenario, and then you test your KPI parameters.
Right. So if I have to ask you, which among these two is more important in the context of testing today, which one do you say?
Okay. So when your software is ready for a product,
Mhm.
so the first thing is do the simulator. If it passes, then only you do the real time. We cannot skip any of this,
Right.
right? So at least simulator will give us confidence. Okay, this did not decline from the past, right? And it's working better without any issue. Then get it to the real time system.
Right. So first do it in a controlled environment and then get into realism.
That's what I was telling, balancing.
Right.
So both are required.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree to your viewpoint. So now you have also talked about scale. So you did around 40 clients in 2011. Now, if you want to scale a test setup today, what does that scale look like in today's context?
So it depends on what kind of device you are testing, right? So there are different verticals in the industry where the APs get deployed. So you might have heard hospitality, you might have heard hotspots, then you might have heard colleges, universities, right?
Yes.
And then apartments, which is MDUs. They call it as MDUs, right?
Probably stadiums.
Stadiums. Say stadiums is almost equivalent to colleges where dense
Right.
environment is
Very
created,
dense. Yes.
right? So now on what is the AP, what is the your DUT, right? Based on that, your scale is determined. So if you are
Right.
testing a hospitality, hardly 5-10 clients, so that's sufficient for testing. If you're testing for an hotspot, maybe 30-40 clients at a time on an average. But if you're testing a stadium, then 100 plus clients on one single AP. So the decision is made based on what device, what is your DUT, what is the capability of your DUT,
Right.
what is under what category it comes.
Right. So the deployment use case and also the AP capabilities.
AP capabilities.
Right. So we touched upon realism a bit. So if you want to simulate realistic test environments,
Right.
what are the strategies that we should follow? What are the key factors that we should keep in mind if you want to simulate the test setup as realistic as possible?
Okay. So I think in my presentation I was telling your KYC, right?
Yes.
So know your customer. Okay. So it's always important that in Wi-Fi especially, don't just take APs and deploy it wherever you want. That's the biggest mistake that we do, that no one should do.
Right.
Okay. So what? First, you understand your customer. What is his requirement, and how is his network, right? Then try to simulate that. Okay, inside the lab.
Okay.
Right, and then see if all the RFP checklist for that customer is getting passed or not, right? So if customer is saying that on an average 40 clients will connect and my throughput is around 50 Mbps, right? And there are some clients coming and going, connect, then go away,
Disconnect.
they're roaming here and there. So all those we have to take into consideration, and then we have to create those scenarios, right?
Right.
So, and other thing is what we need to understand from the network is what kind of traffic or what kind of tools are they using in the in their network. For example, what APs? What TVs? What kind of TVs? So do they do AirPlay mirroring, screenplay mirroring?
Okay.
And what do they use? What kind of channeling system? Right, like TV. Everyone has the TV. So what kind of how do they? It's all multicast, right? So what kind of multicast module they are using? Right. So all those information is required so that we create those scenarios and ensure that the product is working as their requirements.
Right. So even if we are talking about realism, the first go-to thing we need to do is knowing our customers as much as we can, and then simulate on the basis of those requirements.
Yes.
Right. So this would be an interesting question I'd like to ask. So is there any scenario in which a field issue was reported to you, but that wasn't identified in our test setup? If so, what was the factor that the test setup has missed in the real deployment?
I think many, I would say, right? um, so for that, we again took a precaution. So that's a lesson learned, right? So we call that as escape defect.
What is it?
Escape defect.
Okay.
So escape defect means it was supposed to be tested in-house, but we didn't test it. It went to the customer and customer found it. Right. So we call it as escape defect. So that was a lesson learned long back. So what we do is once a software is at the general release, like it will be soon available to public. What we do is we take all top 10 premier customers. If we take that, 60 to 70% of our deployment is tested. Okay. So we captured all the tests, most of the test scenarios from all these 10 customers.
Right.
So after passing our automation, after passing our manual test, we ensure that this software goes through those test cycles of customer scenarios.
So you take feedback from the customer deployments as well?
Customer in-house itself. In-house itself, we test it and we ensure that it's not going again into the field.
Okay.
So once lesson learned, we have to correct it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about automation. How important is automation when it comes to Wi-Fi testing and the test setups that we usually do? And do you still think that manual testing still has its importance given the automation expansion happening today?
Right. So okay. So automation till now is we do for the repeatable tasks, and we know what even if it fails, we know what is the cause of failure. But when the output we get out of automation, right, again a manual person has to debug at the lower levels why the things are gone wrong, right? So automation we use for all the repeatable tasks. That reduces very much of our work.
To reduce the redundancy, automation is the main
thing.
Right.
Once we get the results, then the manual team will debug and try to reproduce if there is an issue. If not, they will rerun the automation.
Right.
So automation has its own role.
Manual experience also has its own importance.
Own importance.
Right. Yes. If you see Wi-Fi standards, they are evolving, right? So Wi-Fi 7 has got features like a Melvo. So with these evolving Wi-Fi standards, how do we make sure that our test setups are future-proof, so that they don't get obsolete in a very short time?
Okay. No Wi-Fi setup is obsolete. Okay. Simple, because Wi-Fi itself claims that it supports legacy standards.
Backward compatible.
Right. So that statement itself ensures that that setup is not absolute. Okay.
Right. It
because
can become obsolete.
We still see printers working with 11B.
Right.
Okay. So 11x AP, AXE AP still connecting, still trying to connect with printer.
Right.
11B printer. Right. So I don't think absolute will not happen, at least in next couple of 5 years at least. Okay. Because people won't change. Something people, if they work, they don't want to change it.
Okay. I think that's an interesting take. I thought you would say we need to upgrade as the new standards are coming.
So when new standard comes, we just add. But setup is not absolute. We just add. Maybe Wi-Fi 7 has come now. So we add those variants of clients into the setup. That's it.
Right. So it's just like an extension.
Addition. addition of the existing infrastructure.
Right. We are also seeing lots of trends in today's world with AI, ML. So with these technologies like AI, ML, IoT, mesh, these are all becoming a thing. So are these impacting the test setups that we usually bring up for Wi-Fi?
So for Wi-Fi, test setup is mandatory. You cannot skip the hardware.
Yes.
Okay. So as of now, we are still exploring, I would say, on the to what extent AI or ML can help in terms of testing, right? Because this is not just a software, right?
Right.
So it has unique. Every vendor has unique piece of code. It's not a generic software just to have an web page or something, right? Web page uses common code base,
Right.
right? Every vendor has its own application written on top of base operating system, right? So evolving is happening, but it might take time in terms of how we can implement them in the automation.
How about IoT devices? We are seeing the uprise of IoT
Right.
devices these days. So how are test setups addressing that context?
Right. So if you take our setups, right? So what we do usually is uh, we see what kind of deployments are taking place in the field, right? And we ensure that we buy them and we
Right.
put it into our test beds and ensure it works, right? So whenever a new software, as I said, new software goes, we also ensure that all these IoT devices have no problem
Right.
connecting to
So you actually bring the real devices that are being deployed and
right.
then test against all those devices.
Right. And the reason is all these IoT devices have the cheapest Wi-Fi chipsets. That is the challenge, right? Their firmwares are upgraded maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago, no one knows. Right.
And most of them, I guess, they are on 11N or backward.
Not even 11 and 11 2.4 only. And now there are new IoTs like Ring, some companies like Ring. There are many companies which are coming with the dual capable,
Right.
but still many of them are in 2.4 gigahertz.
Absolutely. And I think that adds to another problem. 2.4 is already crowded with less non-overlapping channels.
Right.
And these devices, they cannot move to 5G, right? They can only stay in 2.4.
Right. So what customers are doing for that? They're creating a separate SSID only for 2.4
Legacy, IoT devices.
IoT device. And whichever is dual capable, they're creating another SSID for that. And for the Wi-Fi clients, which like your mobile laptop, they're having SSIDs and enabling the features such that they connect in 5 gigahertz.
Right. Yeah, I think that's an interesting take on IoT devices.
Yeah.
Now, if someone is about to bring a test setup, what skills does he or she needs to have beyond protocol knowledge? So he knows the technology, but if you are bringing up the test setup, what at least what checklist kind of things one should follow?
All right. So, as I mentioned, I think one of your previous question was the same, right? So, first you have to
Get it reviewed and
get it reviewed, right?
okay.
So, on top of that, so you have to promote system thinking, right? So, what is mean by system thinking? So, you have to know what you are testing on that DUT at the system level. Right. So that's on top of what I have mentioned in the one of your earlier queries.
So having system-wide knowledge
System-wide
is an important aspect.
Yes.
So if you have to give one advice to our listeners, or if you'd like to say on a conclusive note to our listeners about bringing up test setups for complex test scenarios, what would it be? What would be your conclusion remarks?
Uh, always know what you're building. That's very important. So whenever you're building, I think, okay, let me give my experience itself, right? So when I was building, I think almost in my current organization, almost for 3 to 4 labs we have built. What gained me confidence? So first we came up with a small lab, right? So error prone is less and loss is also less.
Right.
So now what we know what we want, right? It's a scale test bed. It should be remote. I should be able to access all the clients. I should able to trigger all kinds of traffic
All
from
kinds
every
of
client.
performance tests.
Performance tests, VoIP calls, everything I have to trigger remotely. And I have to get the statistics of it, right? So what we have done, we have first started, instead of going with the big labs, we have started with the small lab with 40 clients. Then we have run for almost an year and ensured that there is no problem. And whatever problem has come, we've fixed it. Then we went for the big labs, which has like 150, 200 clients.
So first thorough testing entirely needs to be done on the small lab.
It's a big investment.
Right.
Okay. So whenever we are going for scaling labs or building setups, investment is also important parameter to be considered, because once you build an RF chamber, you cannot remove it.
Right.
Laptop you can return, but RF chamber you cannot remove it, right? Or what are the interfaces that you give to the RF chamber? Decide it first, because otherwise afterwards again there will be leakage.
Right.
So you have to know what kind of interfaces you need in the RF chamber.
So we have to predefine it very well.
Redefine it very well. If you want to add one extra, don't come low.
We should not modify it later.
We cannot. Once you modify, we can, but there will be leakage.
And we don't want that.
We don't want that, right? So that's the experience I have.
Right. Thank you so much for all these valuable insights. So I think I have definitely understood many things where you talked about making a checklist. The basics should be working fine on one setup. Then we have to get it reviewed with the seniors or experienced people in our organization. So these things do ensure these are some best practices that we should do while bringing up test setups for complex Wi-Fi testing scenarios. So yeah, I'd like to thank you for giving us your time and also sharing your valuable insights on this topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To the audience, if you like the video and the insights, please share, subscribe. If you have any comments for Shashank, you can leave them in the comment below. Maybe he can take a look at them later. Thank you for your time. See you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.